If you want a bit of advice, here it is. Do not waste your time regretting what has already happened. Put your effort into whatever is right in front of you instead. Right now, I am sitting in my living room watching my wife fool around with another man on my laptop screen, and all I can think about is how badly I got ripped off by the private investigator. His name was Victor Dawson, and he charged me $3,000 for 2 weeks of surveillance work. The truth is, my neighbor, an older lady named Martha, could have told me the same thing for nothing. She has been giving me those sad, tight-lipped looks for months now. The kind of looks that say, "You poor coward," without ever saying a word. But I needed proof. Hard, undeniable proof that would hold up in court. And I got it. The video is sharp enough to be a commercial. The scene is inside some high-rise apartment belonging to a guy named Brian Porter. 15th floor, floor-to-ceiling windows. The kind of place he probably brags about every time he opens a bottle of wine. My wife, Nora, is pressed right up against that glass. The fancy designer dress I bought her for our anniversary pushed up around her waist. Brian is behind her, and they are both laughing. Laughing like they are on the best thrill ride of their lives. That is the part that hits me right in the gut. Not the act itself, not even the betrayal. It is the happiness on her face. That honest, bright happiness. She has not looked at me that way in almost 2 years. I shut the laptop and glance at my watch. 3:15 in the morning. In exactly 9 hours, I am supposed to stand beside this woman and marry her all over again. She called it renewing our vows. Recommitting to our love, she said, staring at me with those wide, determined green eyes. We have grown apart, Paul. This will bring us back together. And I agreed. I hired a wedding planner. Booked the Harborview Inn. Invited 150 people. Spent $28,000 on a celebration of our so-called renewed devotion. The irony is so thick I could cut it with a drywall saw. And since I build homes for a living, I know what I am talking about. My phone buzzes. A message from my foreman, Jerry. You awake? Need to talk about the Henderson job. I answer. Cannot sleep anyway. Coffee at the Rusty Anchor in 20. You got it, boss. The Rusty Anchor does not officially open until 6, but the owner, Doris, has been sneaking me and Jerry in through the back door ever since we demolished and rebuilt her kitchen 3 years ago. When I arrive, she already has the coffee dripping. The rich smell cuts through the bar's usual stale beer scent that never really leaves the place. You look rough, Paul, she says as she slides a mug across the counter. Doris is somewhere in her 60s, built solid as a bulldog, but she has a heart big enough to warm the whole town. Wedding jitters, I tell her. She snorts. Jitters my foot. I have seen that look before. That is the look of a man who knows something. Jerry walks in before I have to answer. Heavy work boots on old wooden planks. He has been with me 8 years now, ever since I started Paul Hampton Construction. He is loyal, protective, and tough enough to bench press the back end of a pickup truck. So, what is actually going on? He asks, sitting on the stool beside me. And do not feed me that wedding jitters garbage. You do not get jitters. I take out my phone and show him a still image from the private investigator's video. Nothing graphic, just Nora and Brian at a restaurant, his hand on her thigh, her leaning toward him like he is the only man in the room. Jerry's jaw tightens. How long? For months, I say, ever since Brian transferred here from Boston. You going to call off the wedding? I smile, and he actually leans back a little. No, I am going through with every last bit of it. Paul, every detail, I say quietly. Every moment, exactly as planned. Jerry watches me for a long second. You have something in mind. I have everything in mind. And tonight at 6:30, during the toasts, everyone else will find out too. Doris tops off my mug without asking. I always liked you, Paul. You are a quiet man, but you are not soft. People tend to forget that. I take a sip. Being underestimated is their first mistake. The day moves like a play with perfect timing. I am calm. Too calm. According to my best man, Mark, soon to be former best man, though he does not know it yet. You are way too relaxed, man, Mark says as we get ready in the groom's suite at the Harborview Inn. Most guys are sweating through their shirts right now. You look like you are settling in for a football game. Maybe I just know what I want, I tell him while adjusting my tie. What I want is simple, revenge that is cold, steady, and devastating. Mark laughs. Nora is lucky you are the most steady guy I know. Steady. That is what everyone thinks. Paul Hampton, dependable contractor. Boring, reliable, predictable. The man who shows up early, pays his bills, and keeps the peace. I built that reputation on purpose. Being overlooked makes life easier. The ceremony is beautiful. Nora looks incredible in white, which feels like a sick joke, but I smile anyway. We read our vows. Her voice shakes with emotion, and real tears spill down her cheeks. She must either be a phenomenal actress or someone who has convinced herself that none of the rest of this is happening. I say I do, and I mean it. I do take on this commitment. I just do not promise to honor her. The reception is held in the waterfront hall right next door. Sunlight hitting the water, 200 guests. Nora invited more than we originally planned. Everyone should witness our love, she told me. Careful what you wish for, sweetheart. Dinner rolls out like it came straight from a magazine. Salmon or beef, expensive wine, and a wedding cake that cost more than the little rusted car I drove in high school. I moved from table to table, making small talk, shaking hands, pretending to be the proud, glowing groom. Nora shines the way she always does at social events. Working the crowd, laughing, making everyone feel important. She is a natural performer, and tonight she is in peak form. Of course, Brian Porter is here too. He is parked at table number 7 with the business associate folks. He has been avoiding Nora's eyes the entire evening. Smart move, but not nearly smart enough. I watched him sneak outside earlier for a phone call. Then I watched Nora touch up her makeup and slip out the side door. 3 minutes later, the two of them met in the garden like nervous teenagers. 30 seconds of whispered conversation. Brian touched her arm. She smiled, and I absorbed every tiny detail like it was part of a blueprint. At 6:25, the disc jockey announces it is time for toasts. My best man, Mark, stands first. He tells a story about how we met back in college, how I helped him pass structural engineering by building a model bridge out of aluminum beer cans. Everyone laughs like it is the most charming thing they have heard all week. Then Nora's maid of honor, Kelly, takes the microphone. Kelly is the one who covered for Nora, the one who lied to my face over and over. Her toast is dripping with talk of soulmates and destiny and everlasting devotion. Her voice is so sugary, it makes my stomach twist. Then it is my turn. I stand up, the microphone warm in my hand, and the whole room goes quiet. Nora gazes at me with a look full of trust and love, and for about half of a second, I almost feel something like guilt. But only almost. Thank you all for being here, I begin. Nora and I have been together for 6 years, married for 5, and I truly believed I knew everything about her. I thought we lived without secrets. Nora's smile flickers. She feels the shift. Good. But recently, I continue. I learned something new. Something that changed everything. I reach into my pocket and pull out a small remote. So tonight, instead of a regular toast, I want to share a short video. A montage, you could say. A look at our relationship, the real one. I press the button. The screens around the room, the ones meant to show Nora's carefully curated slideshow, jump alive. But instead of wedding photos and vacation pictures, it is the private investigator's footage. High-definition clarity. Nora and Brian kissing in a restaurant. Getting into his car. Walking into his apartment building. Timestamps. Dates. For solid months of evidence. Dozens of meetups. The room freezes. It is the kind of silence that is not empty. It is packed full of gasps, whispers, and the quiet thud of 150 jaws hitting the floor. Nora turns white as plaster. She stares at the screens like she is watching her own funeral. In a way, she is. Brian tries to sink into his chair, but it is hard to vanish when you are 6 feet 2 inches tall and wearing a bright blue suit. I let the footage play for 30 seconds. That is all anyone needs. Then I stop it. The silence somehow gets louder. Here is my toast, I say, raising my glass. My voice is calm and even, almost cheerful. To honesty, to truth, and to the fact that I am very, very good at planning ahead. I drain my champagne. Oh, and Nora, I add, the annulment papers are already filed. You will be served on Monday. This marriage lasted exactly. I check my watch, 4 hours and 17 minutes. That might be a new record. Then I walk out. Behind me, the eruption of noise is beautiful. By Sunday morning, the video has gone viral. I am sitting in my house now, since Nora packed up and left on Saturday night, drinking coffee and watching the view count climb. Someone posted it online, maybe several someones. By noon, it is over 40,000 shares. My phone has been buzzing nonstop. 43 calls ignored. 3 from Nora, 7 from her mother, and 1 from Brian. That one almost made me laugh. I cannot imagine what he thinks he could possibly say. The only call I answer is from the private investigator, Victor Dawson. You made quite the splash, he says, sounding entertained. My phone has been ringing all morning. Suddenly, every person in town wants a private investigator. Glad I could help your business, I tell him. You know she is not going to just fade away, right? A woman like that does not go down quietly. I am counting on it, I say. Because here is the real truth. The wedding video was only the opening act. I have been planning this for 3 full months. Every step deliberate. Every possible outcome accounted for. I am not simply ending my marriage. I am dismantling the entire world she built. Phase 1. Public humiliation. Completed. Phase 2. Financial collapse. On Monday morning, I am at the bank as soon as the doors unlock. I have already frozen our joint accounts legally due to suspected fraud. I moved all of my business accounts to a different bank entirely. I changed every password associated with anything we shared. Streaming services, utilities, credit cards, you name it. Nora now has zero access to money. Her personal account holds roughly $3,000. Her credit cards? They are all tied to accounts I controlled, and I reported them as possibly compromised. All of them are frozen pending review. Is it petty? Absolutely. Is it legal? My lawyer says yes, given the circumstances. By Monday afternoon, I am sitting in my attorney's office finishing the annulment paperwork. His name is Gerald Moss, 60 years old, sharp as a brand new chisel, and clearly having a great time with this case. She is going to fight, Gerald says as he sifts through the documents. She is going to claim emotional distress. She will try for spousal support. She may even come after your company. Gerald taps the stack of paperwork like he is drumming on a deck of cards. Let her try, I tell him. I have records of everything. Every asset I owned before the marriage. Every dime I earned. Every dollar she burned through. And she signed a prenuptial agreement, a solid one. She had her own attorney review it. Gerald frowns. She did. Oh yeah. Her maid of honor, Kelly, recommended the guy. His name is Patrick Cho. Works at her firm. Gerald's eyebrows go straight up. You mean the same Kelly who stood beside her at the wedding, and the same Kelly who helped hide the affair? The very same. That is a conflict of interest, Gerald says. If we can prove she influenced Nora's legal choices while knowing she was planning to defraud you. He actually smiles. And it is not a warm smile. Her attorney could be disbarred, he says. And that prenuptial agreement becomes even more bulletproof. Funny how these things shake out, I answer. By Tuesday, the social fallout hits full force. Nora has been suspended from her job at Meridian Insurance while they investigate whether she used company resources for her little romance. Someone anonymously informed her manager that she had been taking long lunch breaks and using the company car for personal errands. That someone was me. Naturally, Brian is in even worse shape. Turns out he is married. Nora left out that fun detail. His wife has already filed for divorce. His company is reviewing his status, which is corporate language for you are fired as soon as the lawyers sign off. And then there is Kelly. Kelly has her own storm brewing. On Wednesday afternoon, I am sitting at the Rusty Anchor with Jerry when she walks in. The place falls silent. In a small town, nothing spreads faster than scandal, and this one is a bonfire. Kelly's face is blotchy and red, her eyes swollen like she cried all night. She spots me and storms straight over. You coward, she snaps. Kelly, I say calmly. Can I get you a drink? You ruined her, Paul. You destroyed everything. I take a slow sip of my beer. I showed a video, I say. A true video. If that was enough to destroy everything, maybe the foundation was rotten long before I pressed play. She loved you, Kelly spits. She had a strange way of showing it. But you would know. You helped her hide it. How many times did you tell me she was working late while she was meeting Brian behind my back? Kelly's cheeks flare even brighter. I was being a good friend. You were being an accomplice, I correct her. Speaking of which, how is work going? I heard the Human Resources Department wanted to have a chat about some of your expense reports. Something about dinners that magically counted as business meetings. Her eyes go wide. You did not. I did not have to, I say. I just pointed them toward the mess. They uncovered the rest. Turns out you were creative with company money. Almost as creative as Nora. You are going to regret this, she growls. I regret plenty, I say. Marrying Nora. Trusting you. Believing friendship meant something. But this? I wave my hand around the room. This I do not regret at all. She spins around and storms out. Jerry watches her leave and whistles softly. You are cold, man. Ice cold. No, I say. I am just done being warm to people who never deserved it. Then comes the next betrayal. This one from Mark, my best man and a friend I have known for 15 years. He calls Thursday night and asks to meet at the diner on Main Street. I agree, wondering what angle he is working. He is already seated when I walk in, tucked in the back booth like he wants to stay hidden. His expression is tight and worried. Paul, we need to talk. So talk. You have gone too far, he says. What you did at the wedding. Okay, I get it. You were hurt. But now, going after Nora's job, her money, Kelly's career, it is too much. I lean back in the booth. Too much. Yeah, he says. You are being cruel. Vindictive. This is not you. Maybe you do not know me as well as you think, I say. Mark leans in. She made a mistake, a bad one, but she is still human. She deserves a chance to pick herself up. You are tearing her life apart piece by piece. She tore mine apart for 4 months, I say. She looked me straight in the eye every day and lied. She planned a vow renewal while sleeping with another man. She used my money to pay for hotels, dinners, gifts for him. And you think she deserves mercy? I think you should be the bigger person, Mark says quietly. I laugh. A real laugh. The bigger person, huh? Let me guess, she called you. Asked you to talk to me. Asked you to reel me in. His face gives away everything. He has never been able to lie. She is desperate, Paul. She has lost everything. Her job, her reputation, her friends, her husband. I finish for him. Do not forget that part. You are my best friend, he says. I am trying to help you. This revenge mission is going to hollow you out. You need to let it go. What I need, I say slowly, is for people to stop telling me how I should feel about being betrayed. And I need my supposed best friend to take my side instead of my cheating wife's. I am taking your side. I am trying to save you from yourself. By defending her? I am not defending her. I am trying to be rational. Someone has to be. I stand up. You know what, Mark? I am done. Done with this conversation. Done with people acting like I am the villain. And done with you. Paul, we are finished, I say. Do not call me. Do not stop by. We are done. I walk out of the diner without looking back. By Friday, 3 more friends walked out of my life. They formed a little committee, apparently. According to Mark, his wife Lauren, and our mutual friends Ryan and Emily, I have gone too far. I need an intervention, and I am letting bitterness take over. They do not understand a thing. This is not rage. Rage is hot and stupid. What I am doing is cold, controlled, logical. This is justice measured out to the ounce. Ryan calls Friday evening and says, we all need to talk. Tomorrow. At my place. Sure. I tell him. I will be there. Because here is the truth. I am not dodging anyone. I am not hiding. I want them to say whatever self-righteous lines they have practiced. I want to look each one of them in the eyes when they show me who they really are. Saturday afternoon, I pull up to Ryan's house. Nice place. I know every inch of it. I built the addition 3 years back. Inside, the 4 of them are arranged in the living room like a panel of judges. Serious faces. Concerned voices. It is an ambush dressed up as friendship. Paul, thanks for coming, Ryan says. Are you worried about me? I ask. You have changed, Emily says gently, in that soothing tone people use when they think you are unstable. Ever since the wedding, you seem harder, angrier. I found out my wife was sleeping with another man, I say. That tends to rearrange a person. But the way you have handled it, Lauren says, it is not healthy. You are destroying people. One person, I correct her. Nora. And she burned my life down first. That is not true, Mark argues. You still have your business. Your house. You are successful. My marriage was a lie. My wife was a lie. The last 5 years were built on fraud. But yeah, I still own a house, so that makes everything fine. We are not saying it is fine, Ryan says. We are saying you have to move forward. Heal. This vendetta is not helping. I look at each of them slowly, one by one. Let me ask you something. Did any of you know? Did any of you suspect? See something? Hear something? And choose not to tell me? The room goes still. Nobody speaks. But Emily's eyes twitch, just for a split second. Emily? She looks at Ryan, then back at me. I saw them at a restaurant once. They were talking. I assumed it was work-related. When was that? 3 months ago. 3 months. 3 months she carried that, and said nothing. Anyone else? I ask. Lauren lifts her hand hesitantly. I heard rumors from Kelly. I thought they were nonsense. I did not want to upset you over gossip. So let me get this straight. I say quietly. You all knew, or suspected, or heard something, and not one of you said a word. You let me plan a vow renewal. You let me spend $30,000 on a celebration. You let me stand up there in front of everyone while both of them made an idiot out of me. That is not fair, Mark says. Fair, I repeat. You want to talk about fair? I gesture around the room. Here is what is fair. Every one of you helped protect her instead of me. You chose her comfort over my right to know the truth. And now you have the nerve to tell me I am the one who has gone too far? Paul, please, Emily starts. No, I am done. You want to be friends with Nora, go ahead. But you do not get to play both sides. You made your choice months ago when you kept your mouth shut. I head toward the door. You are going to regret this, Ryan calls after me. You keep pushing everyone away. You will end up alone. I turn back. I would rather be alone than surrounded by people who smile at me while they stab me in the back. At least alone, I know exactly where I stand. 2 weeks after the wedding that was not, I am sitting in my office at one of the job sites when Victor Dawson calls. Got something interesting for you, he says. About Brian. I am listening. Guy has history. 2 old jobs, both ended ugly. First one, he got fired for accusations related to harassment. At the second, there was some incident with a coworker's wife. Nothing proven, but he walked out on his own right after. So he has a pattern, I say. Oh, he does, Victor replies. And here is the kicker, Nora knew. I found emails between her and Kelly from 6 months ago. They were laughing about it, calling him dangerous and exciting. My hand tightens around the phone. Send everything. The emails show up an hour later. They are brutal. Not just proof of the affair, but proof Nora went into it fully aware of who Brian was. Proof she enjoyed the thrill of it. Proof she pursued him deliberately. And then there is more. Messages between Nora and Kelly about how to cover their tracks. How to use my work schedule as an alibi. How to confuse me if I ever grew suspicious. One text from Nora reads, Paul is so trusting. It is almost too easy. Kelly's reply, just do not get caught. You have got a good thing with Paul's money. I read that line 5 times. Paul's money. Not Paul. Not our marriage. Not our life. Money. That is when everything snapped into place. This was never about passion or emotion or even attraction. It was strategy. It was financial positioning. Nora kept me around for stability while chasing excitement with Brian. And if it all went bad, she planned to strip me clean in a divorce. The prenuptial agreement must have blindsided her. I think back now, she pushed hard against it when we first got engaged. Told me it meant I did not trust her. I held my ground when it came to the prenuptial agreement, and eventually she signed it, probably figuring she could get around it later. Whatever she imagined for her endgame, I caught her long before she could put it in motion. I sent every email and text message to my attorney, Gerald Moss. Then I made another phone call. Meridian Insurance. How may I direct your call? The Human Resources Department, please, I said. I have information regarding employee misconduct. By Monday morning, Nora was no longer suspended. She was fired outright. The messages showed she had used company tools for personal business, lied on expense reports, and broken more than one ethics rule. She was not simply unemployed now. She was radioactive in the insurance world. Word travels fast among professionals. Kelly was gone too. Same reasons, plus the financial issues I hinted the company toward earlier. Turned out she had been skimming little amounts for years. Tiny pieces, but they piled up. Then came Brian. His company finally reached a decision, terminated for cause. His wife's divorce was speeding through the courts. Last I heard, he was living in a rundown motel on the edge of town, driving a rental car because his wife took the BMW with her. I should have felt triumphant, like I had finished the job. But something still gnawed at me. There was one more thing I needed to do. On Tuesday evening, I stopped by the Rusty Anchor. It is packed. Tuesday is wing night, and this place fills up early. I spot Mark and Ryan at a corner table with Lauren and Emily. They spot me too. Their conversation freezes. I walk right up to them. Can we talk? I ask. Mark looks thrown off. Yeah, sure. I pull up a chair. For faces watching me like I am a lit fuse. I have been thinking about what you all said. I begin. About healing. About moving on. Paul. Lauren starts, but I hold up my hand. Let me finish. They quiet down. You were right about one thing. I let all of this take over my life. Revenge, anger, all of it. I have been living and breathing it for weeks. They nod, hopeful, ready to believe we might patch things up. But here is the thing. I say, I do not regret it. Not any of it. What I did to Nora, to Brian, to Kelly, they earned every bit of it. They made their choices. They hurt me on purpose, and I held them accountable. The hope drains from their eyes. What I do regret, I continue, is trusting the wrong people, believing loyalty meant something, assuming that when someone betrayed me, my friends would stand beside me. I looked straight at each of them. You knew. You suspected. You heard things. And you stayed quiet. You let me walk into that vow renewal blind. Let me spend $30,000. Let me humiliate myself. Then you judged me for defending myself. We were trying to help, Emily says softly. No, I say. You were trying to make yourselves feel better. You were trying to pretend you were not part of the problem. But you were. You are. And I cannot forgive that. I stand. So this is goodbye. For real this time. I hope you have good lives. I hope you are content with the decisions you made. But I am done pretending we are friends. I walk away. None of them calls after me. The town festival arrives the first weekend of June. It is the biggest event of the year. Food trucks, crafts, live bands, the whole deal. I almost skip it, but Jerry insists. Hiding makes you look guilty, he says. Walk in there with your head up. Let them see you are not broken. So I go. The place is packed. Familiar faces everywhere. Most people avoid my eyes. Some whisper. A few, mostly the construction guys and the regulars from the anchor, nod or give a quick wave. At this point, I am a divide down the middle topic. Half the town thinks I am justified. The other half thinks I am evil. I am waiting for a beer at a food truck when I hear shouting near the main stage. I turn. It is Nora. She looks awful. Her usually perfect hair is yanked back in a messy ponytail. No makeup. Jeans and an old shirt instead of the expensive clothes she used to wear like armor. And she is arguing with someone. Brian. I drift closer. This is your fault. Nora snaps. You told me everything would be fine. You told me he would never find out. You are the one who wanted the vow renewal. Brian fires back. I said it was too risky. You told me you just needed more time, that you were leaving your husband. But you were not. You just wanted to keep messing around. People stop and stare. Phones come out. This will hit the internet before the music even starts. You are insane, Brian says. I am done with this. Done with you. You are done. Nora shrieks. You are done? I lost everything because of you. You lost everything because you got caught. That is when she sees me. Her eyes lock on mine from across the crowd. For a heartbeat, the whole fairground seems to pause. Then she comes charging toward me, pushing through bodies. Her face is twisted, rage mixed with pure desperation. You, she spits when she reaches me. You did this. You ruined my life. I showed people who you really are, I say, steady and calm. You ruined your own life. I loved you, she snaps. I made a mistake, but I loved you. You loved my money, I reply. There is a difference. Her hand flies up fast, a slap coming. I catch her wrist without effort. Do not, I say quietly. You are a coward. A cold, heartless coward, maybe, I say, but at least an honest one, which is more than you can claim. She tries to yank her arm free, but I hold her just long enough to finish. Let me go. I will, I say. But you are going to hear this first. Every decision you made was yours. Every lie, every betrayal, every moment you chose Brian over me. You do not get to blame me for what happened, I tell her. You do not get to pretend you are the victim here. You made your choices. Own them. I let go of her wrist. She staggers backward, tears streaking down her cheeks. I hate you, she whispers. I figured you might, I say, and I am fine with that. She turns and runs. Brian goes the opposite direction without even glancing back at her. The crowd stares as both of them vanish into the festival. Then slowly people turn their eyes toward me. I lift my beer in a lazy little toast. Show is over, folks. A few people laugh. The tension snaps. Conversations spark back up. The smell of food returns. The world keeps turning. Jerry steps up beside me. That was cold, he says. That was necessary. You feel any better? I think about that. Do I? Not really. But I do not feel worse either. I just feel finished. Yeah, I say finally. I think I do. The last piece of the puzzle falls into place 2 days later. It is Tuesday evening when my neighbor, Ruth, knocks on my door. She is holding a casserole dish and wearing the expression she always gets when she is bursting with gossip. Thought you could use a homemade meal, she says, breezing past me into the kitchen. Ruth, you really do not have to. Hush. I am old. I get lonely. And feeding people makes me happy. Let me have this. She sets the dish on the counter, then turns to face me with a seriousness that cuts right through her usual cheerful attitude. I need to tell you something, she says. Been wrestling with it for days. But you deserve to know. Know what? About Kelly and Brian. I blink. Kelly and Brian? Saw them together 3 weeks before your wedding. At that Italian restaurant downtown. They were friendly. How friendly? Holding hands. Kissing. Everything except taking their clothes off. The words sink in slowly. Kelly was sleeping with Brian, while Brian was sleeping with Nora, while Nora was married to me. A nesting doll of betrayal. Every layer uglier than the one before it. I drop into a chair, stunned. So Kelly pushed Nora toward Brian, so she could have him too? Or, Ruth says carefully, so she could clear the path for herself at work. Kelly wanted that promotion, the one Nora got last year. Maybe she figured if Nora's marriage fell apart, Nora would be too distracted to compete. I rub my face, and instead, both of them ended up fired. Ruth nods. Life has a twisted sense of humor. I start laughing. I cannot help it. The whole thing is so tangled, so ridiculous, that laughter is the only reaction left. So I was not just betrayed, I say, nearly breathless. I was a pawn in someone else's plan. Kelly used me to bring Nora down, and I walked right into it. Does it matter? Ruth asks. Nora still cheated. She still lied. She still treated you like you were stupid. The betrayal was real. Yeah, I say. Yeah, it was. Ruth pats my shoulder. For what it is worth, I think you handled things exactly right. Nora needed to learn that actions have consequences. So did Brian. So did those friends who kept quiet. You think I am in the right? I think you are human, she says. You got hurt, and you hit back. Nothing wrong with that. People rush to say forgive and forget, but sometimes folks need to remember why certain lines should never be crossed. She heads toward the door, then pauses. Oh, and Paul, that casserole will last you 3 days. Freeze whatever you do not eat tonight. Thanks, Ruth. Anytime, honey. 3 months later, life has settled into something that almost resembles peace. Hampton construction is booming. Turns out when half the town sees you as a man who stood up for himself, they want to hire you. We are booked solid through next spring. I have made new friends, people who did not know me before, who judge me based on who I am now, not the man I used to be. Jerry and I are closer than ever. Doris at the Rusty Anchor has basically adopted me like some half-stray son she decided to keep. Word around town says Nora moved back to Boston. Lives with her parents. Works retail now. Brian is somewhere in New York, his divorce wrapped last month. Kelly is still here, but jobless and socially toxic. Nobody wants to hire someone with her reputation. Mark called last week. Left a voicemail apologizing, saying he finally understood why I was so angry, that he should have backed me up. I have not called him back. Maybe someday. Maybe not. The annulment became final 6 weeks ago. The prenuptial agreement held exactly the way Gerald said it would. Nora walked away with nothing but her personal items and the clothes she wore out of the house. Gerald Moss sent me a bottle of scotch after the annulment was finalized. We opened it in his office, sitting across from each other while he told me war stories from past cases. Messy divorces, ugly fights, people who tried to destroy each other in ways far more deranged than anything I had done. It was strange, almost peaceful. 2 men drinking to the end of something rotten. I am not dating. I am not looking. I do not even know if I care to. Trusting someone that deeply again feels impossible right now. But I am fine with that. Being alone is honest. Clean. No lies, no double meanings, no knives waiting in the dark. A few Saturdays later, I am at the Rusty Anchor nursing a beer when the door swings open and a woman steps inside. Mid-30s, auburn hair, confident stride. She scans the room, spots me, and walks straight over. Paul Hampton. That is me. I am Rebecca Walsh, she says. I am a writer. I would like to interview you about, well, everything. The wedding, the fallout, the choices you made. I think it could be a strong article, maybe even a book. I study her. She is serious, professional, and there is something in her eyes, a kind of respect, maybe even recognition. Why? I ask. Because your story is everywhere, she says. Some people call you a hero. Some think you are a monster. But no one has heard your story in your own words. Your actual voice. I think people should. And you think anyone will care? I think everyone who has ever been betrayed will care, she says. Everyone who was told to forgive when they wanted to fight back. Everyone who was shamed for not being the bigger person. People will care, Paul. Trust me. I think about it. Telling my story, not apologizing, not excusing it, just laying it out plain. Owning it. All right, I say. Let's talk. Rebecca takes out a notebook and a recorder. Start at the beginning. When did you first suspect something was wrong? So I tell her. All of it. The unease. The private investigator. The video. The vow renewal ambush. The financial warfare. Losing friends. The festival showdown. The final twist with Kelly and Brian. I talk for 2 hours straight. Rebecca barely interrupts. She just listens, nods, scribbles notes, and lets the words come out of me like a pressure valve finally released. When I finish, she leans back. That is some story. It is mine, I say. For better or worse. Do you regret any of it? I think hard about that question. Really think. I regret trusting the wrong people. I say. I regret wasting years on a marriage that was nothing but smoke. I regret not seeing the signs back then. I pause. But the revenge? The way I fought back? No, not even a little. Those friends I lost, they were not real friends. And I do not care what the town thinks. I care what I think. And I think I did what I needed to do. I stood up for myself when everybody else said I should stay quiet and be the bigger man. Rebecca smiles. That is a hell of a closing line. It is the truth. She gathers her things. I will send you a draft before I publish anything. I want to make sure I get it right. Thank you, I say. She stands, then turns back at the doorway. For what it is worth, I do not think you are a villain. I think you are someone who refused to be a sufferer. The world needs more people like that. Then she leaves. I sit there a while longer. Doris brings me another beer without asking. You doing all right, honey? She asks. Yeah, I say. And for the first time in a long while, I mean it. Yeah, I really am. Because here is what I have learned. Revenge does not heal you. It does not mend what was broken. It does not erase the lies or fix the hurt. But it gives you something back, your power, your sense of control. It reminds you that you are not hopeless, that betrayal does not have to crush you unless you let it. It tells you that you can fight back, that you can survive, that you can rebuild. The house always wins, not because it is perfect or noble or smarter than anyone else, but because the house understands the game. The house knows the odds. The house knows when to hold, when to walk away, and when to burn everything down and start fresh. I learned that lesson the hardest way possible, but I learned it, and I will not forget it.